asylum question. Hi, Jonathan.
Yes, hello, Tom. Yes, what I'd like to say is, first of all, you're not saying on your programme, as far as I understand, is that these migrants are generally, when they come through the smuggling ring, they come through the fact that they're encouraged by the smugglers to throw their identification and passports into the sea, to deliberately confuse the system. So they're coming in illegally. They know they do it deliberately so that you can't find out who they are, what they are, whether they're criminals or whatever they are.
Well, some do, certainly. Some do, absolutely.
Why should we take them under those circumstances?
Well, because people have a right to claim asylum in this country. At the moment, their right to claim asylum is determined largely by whether they can get here or not, and that's what tends to happen.
Yeah, I would disagree with that, because we had something called Brexit, Tom, which says we're not part of this European agreement anymore.
It's actually not a European agreement. It's not a European agreement.
So you're telling me that I could decide I want to go into Jamaica. I could just turn up and they'd have to take me.
They don't have to take you in the same way that, Jonathan, they don't have to take you in the same way that this country doesn't have to take you. They assess your claim for asylum and go, yeah, having us on, pal, and presumably then remove you to somewhere, probably back to Salford.
You cannot just turn up at a country, endless, 10,000 people a week we're going to get. And it's going to be even more than that. The forecast is we're going to get 100 million people over the next 20 years coming into this country.
I don't know about 100. I don't know whether the forecast for 100 million comes from.
Forecast, our population will more than double.
I don't know where you see that.
You wonder why things don't work,
Jonathan,
now,
is that 80,000 people were forecast to come this year.
Yeah, this year. But that's going to escalate. This charity was talking on another radio station about a month ago, and they were saying that the UK in 20 years will be to over 200 million people.
Well,
and nothing works now, Tom. Why do you think local services don't work? Why do you think the NHS doesn't work?
Jonathan, personally, I don't see that happening.
People it's designed for.
But I agree that the current state of affairs is unsustainable. We all do. Everyone knows that this isn't working. Everybody.
But we can't just keep taking more and more people.
We know. That's the point.
This is the one thing that these programmes do not actually reflect. People are worried. They form their lives. They work hard. They're not responsible for all these things that are happening in these countries, and yet they're made to suffer for them.
Jonathan, I agree with you that people are worried. That's why programmes like these talk about it, because people are worried.
Yeah, but they don't want their country ruined. Just because something else has fallen over abroad, which they've got no control over, no whereabouts of it, and yet they're just coming here, trashing our lives.
In what sense are they trashing your life?
Well, basically, our living standards go down. We're spending £8 million on these people every week. You tell me where that's coming from, Tom. That could be spent on something for the good of this country, not on these people. These are not our responsibility, and I will not accept they are.
If these people come to this country, which they will do, right?
They're not our responsibility, though. That doesn't. Ownership doesn't make it. Isn't the law.
I accept you don't want to have them, right? I accept that.
Okay? I don't. So because they're not. I wouldn't expect for them to take me in return either.
No, I understand that, Jonathan. Just let me get the question out, okay? If you wouldn't mind, sir. I understand you don't want ownership. I understand you don't want anything to do with it. You don't want to spend any money on it. You are fed up to the back teeth of it.
Because they're not our responsibility.
Just let me get the question. But in the real world, when people do arrive in this country in the manner in which they have done so, what are you going to do?
Send them back.
Right. Send them back to where?
I've written to my local MP. I'm not going to say which one, because it's not my local MP.
Right.
No, another MP. But I'm not prepared to say which one. But okay. I've written to him recently saying that what we should be doing is spending this £8 million and more in patrolling our coasts with police, border force and army.
So you'd still spend the money?
Sorry?
You'd still spend the money?
I'd spend the money whilst it was necessary to discourage these people, because all we're going to do is put them back on ferries, and they'll go back to France, which is a perfectly safe country.
Other than patrolling every square yard of the channel, if somebody gets through that ring of steel that we've created around the United Kingdom, and manages to, and lots of people, by the way, come by plane or by truck. If they arrive in the UK, what do you, Jonathan, want to do with them?
Well, basically, I'll tell you another solution, which I've also given, Tom, which is an even better one, and there isn't another answer to this, is the fact, take away all the benefits. If they get nothing when they come here, they wouldn't come here. They got nothing. If they didn't get any help, they didn't get given a house, we've got all these people floating in London, which are shown on the news, all got no houses. Makes this country look as though we don't care. We took over 1 million people in last year.
Would you say took 1 million people in?
We took 1 million people in last year, Tom.
Jonathan, those people, the overwhelming majority of those people arrived with family visas, work visas, or student visas.
Yes, but we can't keep taking it.
Well, your issue then is not with just people coming by boat and spending vast many millions. Your issue is generally with the number of people arriving by immigration routes.
No, my issue, Tom, is the fact that I'm quite willing to accept people that have got good to do things in this country,
Absolutely.
like come for jobs and whatever
like
else.
the overwhelming number of people who have arrived in this country over the course of the last 12 months.
What I have a problem with is people come here that sponge off us, see us as a cash cow, which we are.
Fine. But just so I'm really clear that I understand your point, sir, you don't have a problem with people who arrive here for very specific reasons, for a job, to study.
No, I don't.
To be fair,
no, I don't.
But that is the majority of the 1 million people you cite. The overwhelming majority.
What I don't want is sponges. Basically, let's put it in its text, Tom. I don't want people that just want to lean on us because we're a so-called rich country. We're not anymore.
I understand. And what proportion of the people who arrive here by boat, not the non-sponges who are here because they've got the visas?
Most of those people that come on a boat are of ill intent because the fact that they were quite willing to come here without any ID because they don't want to be identified because they think it will get them in.
And the 70% of those people who arrive by boat who are granted asylum...
But they shouldn't be.
Based on what?
Based on the fact that nothing works now, Tom. Why do you think the NHS doesn't work? Okay. It's not money, it's not doctors. It's down to the fact that it was designed in 1959 or whatever it was, for 40 million people. It's now coping with 80 million.
You've just agreed with me, sir, that the overwhelming majority, if you're worried about numbers, the overwhelming majority of people coming to this country are coming via visa routes. So actually, if you're worried about numbers, the thing you should be most concerned about, sir, if that is genuinely your view, the people coming on the visa routes, whether it's work, study or family, not the people who are arriving by boat. If it's just
I disagree, Tom, because I think the people coming by visa routes are actually for the good of this country.
I agree with you, but they're in the majority. So what are you worried about? Are you worried about us keeling over as a nation because we've got too many people arriving? In which case,
because we've already got too many people.
Well, in which case, sir, the majority of people arriving to this country are coming on visa routes. They are coming to work. They are coming to study.
Whatever they're coming, Tom, we still can't accommodate 10,000 people a week, and that's the ones we know about.
Okay. We're going round in circles.
Hi, Tom. My blood pressure's gone right up. That man, Jonathan from British, Stratford or whatever it's called. I would like to address him directly.
Please do.
These asylum seekers have learnt to come to Britain by boat without a visa and get looked after. They've learnt it from the British, who went a few hundred years ago to other people's countries on boats without a visa and took the riches from their country and brought it back to England. They have fought so many wars in Afghanistan trying to take stuff from Afghanistan. Now the Afghans have followed their example and come to their countries by boat, and people like Jonathan are getting angry. You showed them what to do. Blame yourself, not those poor people that you've been bombing and fighting for hundreds of years. That's what I've got to say to Jonathan. And every penny that's spent on every single asylum seeker, it's their money by right. Because their countries have been raped by the British, taking money from their country to make it Great Britain.
I think the use of the word you used to describe what had happened to those countries by Britain is really inappropriate, Donna.
No, it's not inappropriate.
It is. It's really inappropriate.
Because that's what happened. I came from one of those countries.
I understand.
I came from one of those countries.
I understand our history, and actually, our 20-year war in Afghanistan was we thought, to benefit the Afghan people, to push back the Taliban, and it all ended completely disastrously.
What about the other wars? What about the other wars that they had hundreds of years ago?
But I'm really sorry, Donna, I don't see wars 100 years ago acting as a justification for anyone in a country that Britain has sent forces to hundreds of years before to come over and gladly claim their piece of land on this great isle. It's not a justification, is it? Who would you say no to?
Tom, well, we didn't have the opportunity to say no. This is the whole point. We did not have the opportunity to say no. They just walked in and took over. Right. We did not have the opportunity to say no.
But do you want that now?
So you can't be angry with them.
But do you, Donna?
No, I don't.
Right, okay, so you don't.
Tom.
So who would you say no to?
I don't want that here. I do not want that here.
Okay.
But I'm just saying, speaking directly to Jonathan,
yes,
when he's mouthing off like that,
I know.
Just remember his history. Remember his history.
I agree, Donna. On that point, I agree, but I'm afraid it's not a justification for saying anyone can come that's been in a country where Britain was hundreds of years ago.
I don't want anyone coming, Tom.
Fine, okay. Well, let's agree that. Okay, well, let's agree on that, Donna. Thank you. Shabir's in Edinburgh. Shabir.
Yes, Jonathan. Yes, Tom. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm not sure how Jonathan is. Carry on, sir.
So what it was, I think your previous caller, Donna, has really hit the nail on the head. We bombed Afghanistan, we bombed Iraq, we are still bombing Syria, we bombed Libya, and that's where all these refugees are coming from. And then we're saying, why are they coming here? I mean, we are the problem.
I'm sorry, again, I'm really,
I'm surprised that man of your intelligence can't see that.
No, but it's complete revisionist base argument. Because we dropped a bomb, therefore all bad, doesn't work. In Libya, the reason for our engagement in Libya was to stop a massacre that was going to happen in Benghazi. What happened in Libya afterwards when the forces... Hang on a second.
Or was it a better state beforehand?
I think it's fair to say that Libya was better before it fell into a failing state. You're right.
Yes,
but it wasn't about... Hang on a bit. It wasn't about to be better for the people of Benghazi who were going to be massacred.
So therefore we make it worse for everybody.
No, the aim was not to make it worse for everybody. And the result is not then to say, everybody for whom it is terrible now can come to this country. That's not going to work.
But we caused that issue. And we're still causing it in Syria.
I'm sorry, I don't think we caused what's happened in Syria. We didn't cause what's taking place in Syria.
We are funding the opposition with weapons. It is our weapons that are being used to bomb the Syrian population today.
But those people that Britain is bombing, in the main, are ISIL. The majority of raids being run by the UK in Iraq and Syria that are just about to happen are ISIS.
Do we have smart bombs that only bomb ISIL supporters? Is that what you're saying?
Well, they're not bad.
I don't think they are. We are bombing general populations in Syria today. The country is a basket case because of us.
What conflict would you think Britain could enter? Is there a conflict that you think Britain should have entered?
No, I don't think so. We shouldn't have entered Afghanistan. Okay. We shouldn't have entered Iraq.
So what is then the point in having a military?
We shouldn't have entered Syria.
Sure.
What has Syria ever done to us?
What is the point of having a military if there is no conflict in which you think you could enter?
What is the point of having a military if we can't use it? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, I think there is a reason to have a military for reasons where we need to enter into conflict.
Defend the UK and not bomb foreign countries who have not done anything to us.
So the moral incentive for a UN... It's funny how we end with the military as we started with it. For a UN Security Council nation to come to the aid of civilians in certain countries, in this case like Syria, to protect them from tyrants and despots, to come to the aid of the people in Benghazi when they were about to be massacred by Gaddafi's forces, forget it. You don't bother.
It did not come to the aid of people in Libya. We have created a basket case of a country in Libya because of us and our friends.
All right. Shabir, thank you. Joe? That's all he's wanted to say.
Hi, how are you?
I'm very well. Far away.
First time called. I've been wanting to call for months.
Go, Joe. This is your moment.
Indeed, yes. I've been biting my tongue for the last 6 months of listening, I suppose.
Again, it comes down to who's the burden going to be on to pay for these MRIs, X-rays, and everything else.
It'll be us. It will be taxpayers.
Right. This is what I've been biting my tongue about it. Every day I hear on this programme people saying, "Oh, we can't afford to do this, we can't afford to do that. We're in a living crisis, this, that, and the other." It's absolutely crazy that we've got to turn around and do all this again. I don't understand why we're doing it.
What, potentially paying for MRI scans, scanners?
It's crazy.
Well, what else are we going to do?
You probably wouldn't want to hear what I think, because I'd be a bigot and everything else.
Right.
But
as long as you have enough about you to realise that you might be a bigot, you can say it if you like.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I'm a hard work. I think I'm a hard-working guy. I pay my taxes. I struggle like everyone else. Mm-hmm. I would turn them around and turn them back to wherever they come from.
Sure, that's okay.
But, I don't think that's racist or big or anything. I just think
it's your view. It's what you'd like to do. It's just currently a legal impossibility. That's the only problem.
Well, yeah, I think they should make it a legal possibility.
Well, they tried, but they can't do it. It turns out
and also
the international laws of the sea are international.
Yeah, I mean, the Gillette thing is enough to joke as well. It's terrible. But, I just wanted to put my view across.
But if your view is, Joe, something that isn't going to happen and doesn't look possible, what else have you got left about what to do about this other than to pay for it? And to be honest, you're paying for it anyway, because you're paying God knows how much more now for the hotels that people are having to be put into, and you would pay, Joe, even more to send people to Rwanda.
But that's what I wouldn't send them to Rwanda. I would turn them around in the sea and tow them back to France.
But we've gone through why that currently isn't possible.
But I hope, Labour, Conservative have got none of my vote anymore. I mean, I'll probably vote, and I'll be honest, I'm in the building trade, and 90% of the people you talk to would vote for a side that would do something like that.